Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom and I have just heard the news that Adam Webster, Ipswich Town centre-back, is in Bristol doing a medical, the final part of what is apparently going to be a £5 million transfer for Webster from Ipswich to Bristol City. Bit of a surprise. The first we heard was yesterday that Aidan Flint, who's been the kind of what I call the championship defender de rigueur, the one that all the Premier League fans who don't really watch the championship talk about and go, oh, Flint for Bristol City, yeah, that's who you should sign. He's gone to Middlesbrough. I don't know how much that was for. I'm guessing more than £5 million. So it's all happened quite quickly today that Webster, who was linked with Bristol City, I guess it must have been in the last transfer window in January, is going to be his replacement. He's a little bit of a different player, but we will come on to that. If you are a Bristol City fan, what kind of player is Adam Webster? Well, he's a tall, elegant centre-half who in the past season particularly became very two-footed. He is more of a passer than a dribbler out, but definitely a football playing centre-half. He's not Rio Ferdinand. He's not going to carry the ball and dribble past people, but he'll certainly step out and find passes, and is a very good long passer with either foot, as you would have to be playing for Ipswich Town's previous manager. He is injury prone, although I don't know whether that is even a thing or whether that can be levelled at him, but he has spent a lot of time out injured. But I think what everybody thought about him is this is a young English centre-back, and I think whenever we see it in the Championship, we see so many centre-backs, like Ipswich's Luke Chambers, for example, who are strong, powerful, don't particularly have much pace, can't particularly do much with the ball. But take someone like Morrison, who just got promoted with Cardiff, that sort of guy, and they're perfectly adequate for the Championship. But then when you see a centre-back who's, I don't know, say under 27 and can run and can pass the ball, they always seem to carry a bit more of a premium just for the potential that they could possibly go and play in the Premier League. So potentially Bristol City get a very, very good player if he can stay injury free. Obviously that applies to any player, but certainly a lot of potential for Webster to even go on and play in the Premier League. But what he would need to do is play probably 2 full seasons for Bristol City and kind of become, you know, that Championship defender that, you know, is the English good passer, you know, fill that potential. When he started at Ipswich, there were some errors. I remember a game away at Brentford where he lost John Egan from 2 corners and scored 2 goals. And perhaps Ipswich fans won't want to remember a ball dropping into the corner in the 95th minute at Norwich that maybe could have been dealt with. But I think playing alongside Luke Chambers, certainly he improved on the concentration side. And I don't remember him being really caught out too much last season from a defensive point of view. So I think if he becomes a solid defender with the extra bits, with the pace and with the passing, I think he could be a very, very good signing, should he stay injury clear. From an Ipswich point of view, it's a bit of a left field one, because I think if you said to most Ipswich fans you're going to sell a player quite early in Paul Hurst's reign, I think most people would have assumed it would have been Bielkowski in goal, or just as bad Weghorn. So in some ways, as an Ipswich fan, if the club was to now come out and say no, there'll be no more sales, and that meant that Weghorn stays and that Bielkowski stays, I think most people will be happy. I do understand that a young English centre-back might have more potential upside than a 31-year-old Polish goalkeeper. But I think the question is, who can Ipswich live without the most? And I think being Webster's been injured a fair amount, Ipswich have had to live without Webster, and they've managed to do it. Whereas the idea of living without Białkowski in goal is a bit of a scary one. And the idea of, when we finally got a goal scorer now after Daryl Murphy in 14-15, the idea of living without Waghorn is also a bad one. So in some respects, it's a good sale. I know some people will say, no, someone else should have been sold. But if this money, and this is the, well, the £5 million question, if this money is now given to Paul Hurst, or a percentage of this money is given to Paul Hurst, and he can build a team on it, and he doesn't then have to ship out other people. Look, someone else might go, but he can start to bring in his own players with this. Then it may not be a bad thing. I don't know. We can't all do the dumb football fan thing where we see a £5 million transfer and we assume that £5 million will immediately hit Ipswich Town's bank account. That won't happen. There'll be fees. There may be add-ons, you know, if Webster plays a certain amount of appearances. We don't know how it stacks, so don't expect even, you know, your best case scenario when that money comes in. It might not even all come in one go. You just don't know the way the deal is going to be structured. But I'd be interested to know from fellow Ipswich fans what you think would be put back in. I think Portsmouth have got a sell-on clause, so an amount's gonna, you know, not even come to Ipswich, go straight back out to Portsmouth anyway, because from the original transfer 2 years ago. I suppose I'd better give some credit to Ipswich's previous manager, who did sign well always, and this is an English player signed for, I think, 800,000. You know, 2 seasons later, sold for £5 million, having not played too many games. That's good business, so well played to him. Where this leaves the Ipswich squad will be interesting. A lot of people have speculated that Hurst played 4-2-3-1, and for the last third of the last season, Ipswich played 3-5-2, 3 centre-backs. So if Hurst is going to go to 4-2-3-1, he needs fewer centre-halves, so maybe this is one position he could afford to let somebody go. Trevor Chalobah has come in from Chelsea as a centre-half. Does this now mean that Jonas Knudsen will permanently make the move in as a centre-back? I don't know. Will it be Chambers and Chalobah, and that's the centre-half partnership in a 4-2-3-1 with Knudsen able to play there, and Jordan Spence able to play there as well? Certainly, they probably need another centre-back, but you don't know whether someone like Luke Wolfenden will now be promoted into the squad, and Webster even needs to be directly replaced. I've never really been a big believer in that. So I'm really interested to know from Ipswich fans, what do you think of the sale? Was it the right player? Was it the right price? And how much of that money do you think Hurst gets, and where do you think he should spend it? A whole lot of questions. Bristol City fans, if you're watching, what sort of a player do you think you're getting, and will he fit into the Lee Johnson kind of high energy, you know, pressing type football? Still digesting all the details, so I'm sure we'll get more on this, but please, anything, let me know in the comments if you've got any thoughts on any of those aspects, and smarten me up on anything that I may have missed out. Thank you very much for watching. Follow me on Twitter @Benjamin Bloom. Thumbs up, comment, etc. Goodbye, enjoy the sunshine.